I'm here in Central Virginia and dealing with the spotted lanternflies that have made their way to our area. And I'm having a bunch of these tree of heaven or paradise trees that they're called here locally removed later this week. And we have a mulberry tree that's hanging over this fence that's going to be taken out. But the people that I've had come by and give me estimates for removing these trees have said we've had the worst infestation that they've seen so far. And they're taking down these trees all over town. And the extension office, when I called them, they said that's the best thing that could be done. Only thing is, when you take out the tree of heaven or paradise tree, they will go from that to black walnut. And I have a couple of black walnut trees, like that very tall one right there. And there's one over on the side yard and a neighbor's backyard, and they're already climbing those. But anyway, so the best that I could do is take out the ones that are hanging over the fence in our back area, and otherwise it would cost way too much to take everything out. But we're trying to cut down as much as we can this week, and it's awful trying to cook out here. They are crawling on the side of the house, and when you walk over here, you can see, they say to kill everyone that you see, but of course you can't reach the ones that are climbing up the trees. And I can spray the concrete patio, but that only does so much. But you see them climbing, it's hundreds of them on that tree right there. And that's the way several of those tree of heaven or paradise trees are. Anyway, I did a lot of research. I spent a lot of money on the insecticide that they suggested on Amazon, and it did not work, not that I could see. I found that out of everything I've tried, and I hate to use any kind of major chemicals, but I got desperate. But anyway, the best solution I found so far is put a gallon of vinegar and at least 12 to 15 ounces of Dawn dish detergent in a garden sprayer, and I sprayed the concrete patio around the back area, and that seems to have killed more of them than anything else. But like I said, I can only eliminate the ones that are on the ground. I can't do much about what's climbing these trees, and they fall down and they jump toward you when you try to kill them, and it's just very different than any kind of insect I've seen. And there's one climbing up the fence right here now, and they start out black and white, and they're growing larger now, and they end up with red spots, and then they become like moths, and they'll have tan and red wings. And you can see this tree that I was talking about, and several of these trees are just like that. And we have a couple of very large trees that are going to have to go. And you can see above this concrete patio I'm walking around that they're all hanging over this, and they secrete this stuff called honeydew. And I've researched a lot and learned a lot in the last couple of weeks. And I had to, when I was pressure washing out here, this area over here was completely black, and you can see that it's getting very stained again. And it's because they secrete this stuff that's very sticky, and it's like walking in honey back here, and that attracts ants and spiders, and we have gotten down more bee nests of wasps and, for the first time ever, hornets' nests. And that was on the back of this fence, and it's because of this sticky stuff that's excreted by these insects, and it draws a lot of pests like that. So we're going to be taking out this huge one here on the corner. We do know that this one is a female tree of heaven because it put out thousands and thousands of seeds back in the spring. And I never knew all the time we've been here that this was an invasive species of tree that's been here for quite some time, but it's never been a problem until this year when the spotted lanternflies showed up. Otherwise, the reason they call it tree of heaven because they grow 10 to 15 feet a year. And I've had some of them cut back a little bit in the past to keep from dealing with leaves and limbs and things falling across the fence there. And we have a huge poplar right there. We're going to take out that mulberry tree also that's hanging over pretty significantly, and then we're going to cut back that poplar, just like 3 or 4 limbs that are hanging over. And also, I forgot what type of tree that is, but just going to cut out the section that's hanging over our open enclosure over there that we use to store some things. And so we're keeping the black walnut tree that's right there, but those bugs have gotten on that also, and I'll show you. The wind's blowing a little bit hard today. And I hate even walking under here because I can feel this stuff. It's almost like raining on me that is excreted from those bugs. And you can see that it looks like it's rained. So it turns black, and you can see this part of the sidewalk here has started turning black because that stuff gets moldy, and that also attracts the bees and ants. See, there's tons of ants crawling right there. And my neighbor across the street has some problems with ants also. So we're going to take out this tree and the one beside it. The one on the corner, that's going to have to go backwards toward the neighbor's yard. And so since that's the easiest for a lot of that to come down, they okayed us to do that. And also neighbors on the other side, on the street over that's behind us, has agreed to allow equipment in their back area. So this is what we're dealing with here with spotted lanternflies. And like I said, I didn't know anything about them until about 3 weeks ago. And we have a pretty significant infestation, and the extension office said we are in the red hot zone, and that they came in on the train system, which isn't very far from us, and that they are an invasive species and they are here to stay. So we have to eradicate the trees that they prefer the most, and we are told to kill every one of them that we see, because they also take out crops, especially grapes, so I don't know what the wineries are going to do, and they've caused significant damage up in Pennsylvania. They've cost about 5,000 jobs and cost $50 million in damage between what they've done to crops of especially grapes and also hardwoods that they damage. And I'm standing here and I'm seeing up that limb that's outward. I had not seen them on that limb until just now. So they are really making their way up the trees. And I've seen where people make the traps that they put around the bottoms of the trees and all of that. And that may be something that can be done also. But these trees are a nuisance hanging over our fence because we have had times when limbs have come down or one of the trees came down. Thankfully it didn't take out the fence, but they really do need to be cut back, and then we'll have to continue to eradicate any sprouts that want to come up going forward. So that's my little education recently on the spotted lanternflies and the tree of heaven, or so the local tree guys call it, the paradise tree. And like I said, they call it tree of heaven because it grows up to 15 feet a year, and it comes up looking like just a weed and sprouts up really fast. It can be 10 feet tall in a year. So I'll do an update after the trees are taken down at the end of the week. It'll look very different here.